Jeffrey Carroll about the need for my office to know who the teens are who've gotten a curfew violation. Because if there's more than one or two, parents, you're on my list. I spoke to the police chief about those teens who are wearing masks when they are committing crimes. That's an additional violation. It's an OAG violation, but it's a violation nonetheless, and I can bootstrap the parents into that. I also spoke with the local DC Attorney General, Brian Schwab, and he and I are on the same page as it relates to his giving my office the information that I need about PINs, about young people in the family court who are in trouble, who are in a position where they are being monitored and under a court order. It is then that I can pull their parents in. I've got everything in place now. And I spoke to the chancellor of schools. That one is yet to be determined. So, if you've been following the DC news, you know that there has been a back and forth with the DC Council, who, for whatever reason, are refusing to vote on a curfew, a new curfew that will allow Mayor Bowser, and with whom I am on the same page on this, along with Chief Jeffrey Carroll, to impose a discretionary curfew based upon information that is coming to their attention. In fact, right now, the curfew is 11 to 6 weekdays, and I think on weekends it may be 12 to 6. But the DC Council is not willing to deal with this. They punted, and you know they punted, when the kids were on spring break between, I believe it was April 15th and April 21st. And they literally just went home. Well, I'm telling you now that there's a meeting tomorrow of the DC Council. And I am now asking the people of the District of Columbia who agree with the mayor and the chief and me, that they need the ability to create this curfew based upon the discretionary and the recent information, to call every one of these members of the DC Council and tell them that we need a curfew. We need a discretionary curfew where the mayor and the chief.
Okay. That was fair use. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, not making any monetary value off of this, but this is actually live. I'm watching it on TV in the backdrop. But what they're not showing in this particular live feed is that video of the Chipotle teen takeover where they was these niggas, Jake, man, and they're tearing that damn place up, throwing damn chairs, throwing damn high chairs. You know, the people with their family in there in the damn corners can't even get out the damn door. White people in there holding their little babies, and their kids is shook and scared. They don't know what the fuck to do. And so that's the face that they got on these teen takeovers. It's you, Jake, which we know that it's not just, you know, Jake that do all that weird shit, you know what I'm saying? Because Esau, they be doing a bunch of crazy ass shit too. And but it's mainly, you know, they're gonna put the face on Jake, and I gotta say, hey Jake, they definitely are the main culprit, so to speak, in a lot of that wild shit. Because Jake, when we say Jake, we mean Jacob. So-called blacks, mainly Hispanics, Native Americans, you know, the children of Israel, because we're under those curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, and a lot of these teens, they don't have no. You think these single ass mamas got control over these fucking these teenage boys? Because that's mainly who was in the Chipotle hookup. You know what I'm saying? They look like they appeared to be 16, 17. You know, a bunch of damn poo shiesty mask on and just tight ass pants with no damn belt on, pants still hanging off your ass, and they laser tight on your ass, you know. So, you know, they've been talking about that, and they ain't gonna have no problem starting to gun y'all asses down too. You know, you're talking about this status of children, but see Esau too. Let's get this scripture right here, because Esau is just basically reaping what they've sown. You sowed into our communities the seed of corruption. You took the fathers out of the home. You've done that systematically. And that's in your data. That's actually your history. This is not like something you can't look up. You took the fathers out of the home. You know, you placed the woman in control. which we know that it's all prophetic as well too, because Jacob, when it comes to the children of Israel, the men, you know, basically let shit go left, so to speak, when it comes to us keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, doing what the Lord told us to do, because we as the men are the leaders. And then, we started to commit all kinds of spiritual adultery and doing all kinds of wickedness, you know what I'm saying? So the Lord, he turned his back on us. So now a part of the contract in Deuteronomy chapter 28, as far as he gave us, stipulations on the blessings and stipulations on the curse. If you keep what I said, if you do what I said to do, you're going to be blessed. You're going to be above all these nations that are upon the face of the earth. I have chosen you as a peculiar people. So now when you get into the curses, he said the opposite. Hey, if you don't do what I say to do, all these curses are going to fall upon you. And you're going to be sold into, the hands of your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. So, of course, we're in slavery here in the Americas. And through that slavery, Esau systematically has really fucked us over. And they planned all this out. So now, coming into 2026, see, everything was fine back in the days when it was just them being able to just, move about the earth, jump in their RVs and just travel across to their, country townhouse and spend the summer up north or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? They was just able to just go out to the parks and chill. Everything was pretty much associated with them, and but it's not like that no more. This place is totally different from what it was when Esau first put in place those laws. He didn't think that a lot of that stuff was going to come back to bite him in the ass. Because, see, now they're baby daddies, they're baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? They don't really show Esau on TV with the, these people that, with them yellow ass teeth, living in them trailer parks, dusty as hell, chewing tobacco, fighting each other. They don't show you all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't even show you Esau that's living in gated communities that's fucking each other up and got all this crime going on. But see, you, Jake, are the face of this stuff. But let me just get this scripture real quick, because the point that I wanted to make is how they orchestrated all this. And by taking the men out of the home, that means that, okay, now they got complete control over the children from the school straight into a prison program. Now your ass is in, you go to juvie. Then from juvie, they already know you're gonna be you're gonna offend again. You're gonna go into prison. Now, and that's Esau having almost like a perpetual slavery over us, right? And they still showing that Chipotle video. They got that bitch on repeat. If you watching it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, but see what this lady is talking about. They're gonna charge you parents for the destruction that these niggas cause. They're gonna, I say just, hey, go ahead and just throw them niggas in jail, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Jake acting a goddamn fool, because see, the scriptures, the Lord, he had laws for disgruntled young men, so to speak. You put their ass to death, you make an example out of them. But then Jake, see, our people, they be like, oh, well, no, you can't do that. That's discrimination. That's racism. This, and this. But you not doing nothing. Your ass, matter of fact, you scared of them. You got your hand on your goddamn pistol when you see one of two or three of these niggas walking up the block before you get out of your car as an older person. But yet you'll be out here marching. That was my baby. He ain't do nothing. He wouldn't have done nothing. You niggas is letting go balloons. You're lighting candles and shit. And don't nobody give a fuck, man. Because really, in reality, deep down, you know that nigga was terrorizing the neighborhood. But let me get this, though, man. Because, see, Esau is very hypocritical. Proverbs 22:6. No, was it 21? Nope, it's 22:6. Salakia. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Now, how do you train this child? You train this child through the scriptures, right? And it amplified, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, teaching him to seek God's wisdom and will for his abilities and talent. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. So the Lord told us to teach our children these laws, statutes, and commandments, generation to generation to generation to generation to generation. Now, the scripture goes into, let me see, it might be in here. Sparing not the rod, right? Let me just put that in real quick. Because you put your hands on them, they coming to unlock you up anyway. So it's kind of like a lose-lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you can't win. Put your hands on these kids and they call the police on you. They say that my mom beat me, or my dad spanked me, or whatever the case may be. They coming to take the fucking children. They gonna handcuff the parents. They gonna take them to jail. So what do you want them to do? It's nothing. You been killed that. You killed that long ago. There was a time when there was some ass whoopings going out. Now you got a generation of kids that's raising kids, a generation of kids raising kids. So the parents are big fucking kids, man, these days. They didn't get no discipline. They don't know what's going on. They don't have no type of fucking self-control or any of that stuff like that. So basically what's happening is you're watching the fall of this kingdom, man, and the Lord is really just letting Jake get to the point of where he just needs to be completely extinguished, man. This nigga need to be wiped out, man. 2/3 Jake, man. The Lord is just building it up. It's all building up, and it's crazy. They got the Sandy fires burn 184 acres on the bottom part of the screen, and it's directly under these niggas on this Chipotle takeover screen. They got the like the split screen, you know what I'm saying, and the fire is directly under these niggas, which is I wish I could turn my camera on, which is biblical, man. Because we're to teach our children. Let me see, how's it worded? There's a few scriptures on whipping these niggas' asses, man, and getting them in place. Because other than that, Esau gonna get them. Because eventually the Lord is gonna get down on them. It's as simple as that. All right, we can go into this one right here, and we can get the precepts probably. Okay, I'll start at verse 12, Proverbs 23 and 12. Apply thine heart unto instruction, and thine ears to the words of knowledge. Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell. Right? But you think Esau is going to allow this? Esau got the time out Timmy, put him in the corner, or matter of fact, if you do anything like that now, even if you yell at them, you raise your voice to your children, that can be considered child abuse, man. They come pick your kid up, man. Let me see what other precepts is in there. So Esau, he got rid of all that. Now the accuser of the brethren, you the one had this situation in play, and now all of a sudden you want to blame that's Esau though. He sets the trap, he watch you fuck up, and then he points the finger at you. But he started it all, right? Proverbs 13 and 24. He that spareth the rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betime. See? Nobody's doing that. You got these kids right here that I'm looking at right now. I be looking at there's some kids across the street. They teenagers. And I seen it was one of the little girls. I don't know. She's probably like 15 or whatever. But she's smoking blunts and shit with her parents. You know what I'm saying? The dad pop up every now and then. He's smoking blunt. He passing blunts along with her. The mama passing blunt. Auntie and them passing blunts on along with her. You know what I'm saying? So they treating these they treating these. The scriptures talks about not treating your children as if they're your friends, and that's what a lot of what's going on too. Proverbs 19 and 18, it says, chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. Fuck him crying. I remember back in the days, man, you got your motherfucking ass beat. When I say beat, you got your ass beat. Some days there were whoopings. A whooping is different from getting your ass beat, though. For real. Proverbs 29 and 15, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. See, and that's who they're going to go after. Who you think they're going to go after? They might actually go after the father, which is the crazy part. The dude that's paying child support, that can't even see the kid, never even got to see the kid. They can actually, this place is so backwards, they will actually go after the man instead of the woman that's actually raising this motherfucker. Right? Verse 17, it says, correct thy son. Let me see what verse 16 said. Kind of jumped. Let me start back at, let me read it on through. Let me start back at 15. I'll read it in the Amplified. The rod and reproof, godly instruction, give wisdom. But a child who gets his own way brings shame to his mother. When the wicked are in authority, transgression increases, but the righteous will see the downfall of the wicked, and that's what we're witnessing. Correct your son, and he will give you comfort. Yes, he will delight your soul. See that? So you're supposed to, you know what I'm saying, correct your children. But guess what? Esau, he took all he took all that away from you. He took all that away from you. This shit these kids doing right now, a generation ago, no, 2 generations ago. I know my generation, no, they nobody was having that. Don't get me wrong, all generations got some, children in it that would be doing shit. But this new level, this new shit they got going on, no, this is some whole other shit. And these kids are very emotional. They're very these young men are very effeminate. And she's talking about, all these programs they got it to go to. They can go play basketball. We got soccer ball. We got kickball. We got cheerleading. Them fucking kids don't want to do none of that shit. They ain't trying to do none of that shit, man. Get the hell out of here. The ones that's got a little chance of possibly going to the NBA or some shit like that, they even in the hood doing a bunch of bullshit, get caught up. But anyway, let me just grab one more. See, this one where you basically you put away the evil. You get to, we had a system where we put a motherfucker to death, and the rest of them are line up and get in line. How is it worded? Let me put this in. I think maybe it's stubborn. I'm just gonna put in glutton. Yep, this is the law right here. Here we go, right here. And to you so-called white people that's got your hands on the Bible, talking about your Christians, well, this is the law right here. Let's get it for badass kids. Verse 18. Let me read it. I'm gonna read that in the Amplified too. Deuteronomy 21 and 18. If any man has a stubborn and rebellious son, who would not obey the voice of his father or of his mother, and when they reprimand and discipline him, he will not listen to them. So now these days, the father is not even in the home, Then his father and mother shall take hold of him, grab his ass up and bring him out to the elders, which is the other men of his city, and at the gateway of his hometown. They shall say to the elders of his city, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. And the scripture talks about how rebellion is as witchcraft, and the scripture talks about suffer not a witch to live. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death. So you shall remove the evil from among you, and all Israel will hear of it and be afraid. Yeah, you get to slaying some of these niggas on TV, and they know that that's actually what's gonna happen to their asses if they get caught up. That's gonna shut down a gang of that shit. You're gonna still have some knuckleheads that's gonna still just go for it. But and remember, you had what's this guy RFK Jr. He was talking about how these kids, they own these different medicines and this, that, and the third, which makes them aggressive. HDHD and all this. They label Jake with these particular diseases. Mind, mental shit, and all this other shit. And he was talking about putting you niggas on a farm, working you niggas, putting you niggas back into slavery. When we had y'all asses in slavery, you were better under control, and that's the way that they think about you. But at the same time, too, like I said, this is Esau's. It's prophetic. Don't get me wrong, because 2/3 of Jake gotta be destroyed. But and they still got that video, that Chipotle video playing. They got that bitch on repeat. They want you niggas. They want all the white people that watch Fox News to see you niggas in this light. This is another part of their propaganda. They want because had these been white kids, they wouldn't have that in repeat on Fox. And they look like 156,000 or 146,000, almost 150,000 people watching it live right now. So yeah, this is the mindset that they want to see you niggas in, man. You just in a restaurant. You can't even go out and eat, man, and just sit your doofy ass down and have, drink your fucking soda, drink your, eat your little ultra processed foods, without acting a goddamn fool. But anyway, yeah, this right here though, these scriptures right here, this law, This would get rid of all that. Hey, this right here will help you school shooters. You so-called white people with them school shootings. But see, that's Esau. See, they try and make it seem like they're just so righteous. But them niggas will shoot up a whole goddamn school. Leave a manifesto, you know what I'm saying? And they're that's their style. They don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's the accuser of the brethren. They love putting you, Jake, out here to try and make it seem as if you're the mascot of wickedness when it's really Esau. This is his kingdom. This is his kingdom. If it wasn't for those private prisons making all that money, man, they could easily stop all that. They can easily shut all that shit down. They can go with the scriptures. Since they claiming to be God and white Jesus and all this other shit, you're supposed to be so damn spiritual. You know, you can go with the scriptures, use these laws right here, and go ahead and get Jake in order and your own people in order, because your own people need to be put down to go along with some other heathen that's in this nation. You know what I'm saying? All of you, they're all over the place. They need to be put down no matter what the race. If they get out here and they doing a little stupid shit, here you go. They kids can shoot up a whole fucking school, and this motherfucker just, they make sure he don't bump his head when he get into the squad car. They take him to court. They handle him with paper gloves, little kitty gloves. He gets to, get treated like he's still a fucking kid. And then he gets to live the rest of his life in prison if that's what they give him. You know what I'm saying? He gets to live the rest of his life in prison off the taxpayer. They're not putting this guy to death. How you able to walk into a school and gun down 18 people, other students and teachers and all this other shit, and then you get to, just chill the rest of your life? But that's Esau. No, that motherfucker should be put to death. That's a law as well. You know what I'm saying? You take a life, hey, your life got to be taken. You taking 20 lives and you still get to live? That's Esau. See, that let you know right there that this man is not a righteous. He's not righteous in no way, man. He, it's all a facade. He fronts as if he's the righteous, but in the meanwhile, it's nothing but wickedness in this man's kingdom. And then you have to realize too, shit, America's a violent place. It was stolen on violence. It's always been violent. Yeah, you're acting like, okay, I guess in their communities, you got your little kingdoms and, where they walk around and they up on this higher pedestal, so to speak, where they don't even generally deal with the, the general population. You got what they call your royals. They, and you got your gated communities. But see, these so-called white people in America, they starting to see it everywhere now because they got to come out of it, at some point. See, there was a time when, you niggas couldn't be around them like how you're around them now, and they want to go back to that time. They don't want you around them. They don't want you moving into their neighborhoods. And that's one of the reasons, because they feel as if, as soon as you come into the neighborhood, there's going to be crime and their property value is going to go down. So they don't want you niggas around. And you can't blame them. Like, for real, You can't blame them, man, because we don't like being around niggas. We avoid you like the Black Plague, too. So I'm going to end out there. But just know that these Edomites, they going to come and they ready to draft y'all asses anyway. Throw y'all asses into one of them they going to get you together. See, Esau, this Trump administration, they're not playing. They ain't going to play with you. They fuck around, they can swoop y'all asses up and won't nobody know where the fuck y'all at ever again. You be in a fucking boot camp somewhere being programmed. And you going to do what Esau say. You're going to do exactly what Esau say, because guess what? You niggas not going to attack or running into Esau's neighborhoods and attacking them like that, like how you act ape shit crazy with each other. You're not going nowhere else to go after the real people that's got your ass oppressed. Stupid. So I'm going to end out there, man. I pray that the lesson was edifying. With that, Kwame Allah and a Baba Ball.